When the drum beat changes, the dance must also change. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Friday, December 19th, 2025. My name is yours truly, Kofi Asante Mensah. This is Pulse of the Week here on NSG News GH. All right, welcome to the program. This bulletin is coming to you live from Jacana Street, JD 3047101, our digital address from Amahia Adenta in the Republic of Ghana, Accra. Welcome to the bulletin. Once again, it's Kofi Asante Mensah. Wherever you are watching us from, we are glad you've joined us. Please share our link and also drop some few comments. You can see our link on the screen right now, or our social media platform. This is the program that breaks major news items in the Republic of Ghana to the barest minimum for your consumption. And we are here to do just that. I have updates for you. When I return from this breather, I'll share with you major details of news here in Ghana. Please stay with me. All right, thank you very much for joining us once again. We'll begin the bulletin from the office of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, because today he visited he hosted and visited the Diaspora Summit and shared some few comments over there. I would love to begin today's program from that very note. President John Dramani Mahama has called for a deliberate unification of the African diaspora against long-standing and colonial mindset. According to him, this will be a strategic reversal of historical oppression to take back power. He made this call at the Diaspora Summit 2025 held in the Accra International Conference Center today.
Time for them to be loaded as cargo onto ships. Given all this, it will be safe to assume that a significant percentage of the enslaved people, even if they did not originate from the area that is now called Ghana, passed through it on their way to the slave destinations. What followed for each and every one of those individuals is as much a part of Ghana's story as what followed for us who remained firmly rooted here on our soil, but were subjugated and rendered second-class citizens nonetheless through colonization. As Kendrick says, bear with me for a second and let me put you on the game. The Portuguese were the first Europeans to land on our shores. They began the practice of extraction of gold, copper, ivory, chili peppers, and then eventually they moved on to the extraction of human beings. It was the Portuguese who gave the River Volta its name. Volta in Portuguese means to return. They used the River Volta as a kind of boundary. It was the farthest they could travel. Once there, they had to turn around and begin their return. The Portuguese, who were superb shipwrights and navigators, therefore called Volta do Mar, which literally translates as
Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambas, AU High Representative for Silencing the Guns, commends Ghana's leadership, vision, and commitment to Africa diaspora unity, delivering a solidarity message from AU Chairperson, His Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf at the Diaspora Summit 2025 has this to say.
Ezezima Yasimbe, Président du Conseil de Togo, honorable ministers our esteemed traditional leaders, our brothers and sisters from the diaspora, allow me to stand on the protocols established. I have the honor to address this distinguished gathering on behalf of His Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, and to convey his warm greetings and sincere appreciation to the government and people of the Republic of Ghana for convening this important Accra Diaspora Summit. Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to recognize at the outset the valuable custodianship of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic, as the African Union leader on advancing the cause of justice and payment of reparations to Africans. Your convening this conference comes at a moment of historic consequence for Africa and people of African descent worldwide. It takes place under the African Union's theme of the year for 2025, Justice for Africans and People of African Descent through Reparations, as designated by the Assembly Decision 884 and reinforced by subsequent Assembly decisions mandating coordinated system-wide implementation across African Union architecture. Over the course of this year, the African Union has moved decisively from declaration to action. The year of justice and reparations has not been only symbolic, it has been.
All right, let's do some more stories. Leave the Diaspora Summit 2025 and move to some accountability series stories here from NSG News. My name is Kofi Asante, and this is Pulse of the Week, and this is our update, news update for you. And the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dominic Ayine, has disclosed that former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has hired some of the top lawyers in the United States of America, USA, to fight the extradition process started against him. Dr. Ayine, who made this known at the Government Accountability Series on Thursday, December 18, 2025, said the cabal of lawyers hired by Ken Ofori-Atta does not. I'll bring that story to you again. Dr. Ayine, who made this known at the Government Accountability Series on Thursday, December 18, 2025, said that the cabal of lawyers hired by Ofori-Atta does not deter his resolve to bring the former minister back into the country to face justice.
There is a sense that persecution will take place rather than prosecution, that a person will not be treated fairly if extradited. Is most likely, extradition will not take place. If you cannot show by your extradition packet, that is the request that you have sent to the U.S., that the one that I have sent to the U.S., there is sufficient evidence, okay, to come to a conclusion, a reasonable conclusion that a crime has been committed, even though you still have the burden to prove that crime beyond reasonable doubt, all right, extradition may not be granted. So the basic point I want to make is that, yes, the principle of reciprocity applies, okay? And I would have been very happy to hand over Abutrika as I have done, okay? And then get Ofori-Atta quickly in return, all right? But usually, the extradition proceedings take place in a court of competent jurisdiction. In our case, that is the district court, all right? In the U.S., it will also be the federal district court. Now, mind you, the person who is the subject matter of extradition will fight it in court. Okay, so the American authorities won't just take my request and say, here you are, here is Ken Ofori-Atta, and then here is, his other accomplished, and you take them, and then they can face trial. It will have to go through court proceedings in the U.S., all right? And I just got to know, that he has hired some of the top, yesterday, I got to know that he has hired some of the top lawyers in the United States of America, very experienced lawyers to, defend him. Now, I'm not afraid at all, all right? I am not afraid at all. But it means that there's going to be a fight in the federal courts in the U.S. If the district court says no, he will go to the circuit court, all right? If the circuit court says no, he's entitled to go to the U.S. Supreme Court to fight his case. So I cannot tell you that he will come tomorrow or he will come the next day, okay? And I'm just being honest. Accounting to the people means being explicit and truthful. So this is what, we are faced with. But I have, on behalf of the government of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we have taken the requisite steps to bring him to Ghana to face trial. And if I were him, this is his home. He should just join the next flight and come here. Under my watch, he will not be treated unfairly. He will go through due process and be prosecuted just like any other person, just like Kobina Edubohi or Hanan or any of the persons that I have filed charges against. Now.
All right, so let's still remain here at the accountability series because Dr. Ayine further stated that he never said Kwabena Eduboahin stole money in Ghana must go back. This is his remarks.
I just want to ask the critical questions because what the strategy that Kwabena Eduboahin and his acolytes in the social media and mainstream media have engaged in is to continuously misreport. At some point in time, I thought of bringing applications for contempt because they are undermining the very administration of justice. Have you ever seen or heard my deputy, the Honorable Justice Swimsai, commenting on the case after court? I have given him strict instructions. We don't do that. All right? We are the leaders of the bar. We must go by the ethical traditions of the bar. You don't comment on a case in a manner that adversely, affects the case that is being made in court. But this is what they have been doing. So they get bloggers, they pay everyone to be saying things that are not. So for instance, if you say, the evidence is now coming out that Ghana must go bags of money were being transferred, it's normal at the national security.
We still remain with the accountability series because there is more over there. The Attorney General further stated that Ghana has actually recovered over 15 million Ghana cedis from fraud and crypto.
The major announcement that I have this morning is in relation to an investigation conducted by the Economic and Organized Crime, which led to a very big recovery of proceeds of crime. As you are all aware, the Economic and Organized Crime Office is one of the key law enforcement agencies that works directly under the Office of the Attorney General. Since assuming office as Attorney General, I have worked closely with the Executive Director of the office, that is EOCO, Mr. Raymond Archer, and the management and staff of the EOCO to ensure that the fight against economic and organized criminal enterprises is sustained. The investigation I'm about to announce and the results of that investigation demonstrate the commitment of the Economic and Organized Crime Office to the fight against organized criminal enterprises. The investigation, which by the way is still ongoing, was complex and at the same time groundbreaking. In or around 2019, a criminal network comprising mostly of Chinese and Malaysians targeted both Ghanaian and British citizens using e-commerce websites and online fraudulent investment schemes. The gang established a Ghanaian company in 2019 to front their criminal enterprise. According to official records obtained by the Economic and Organized Crime Office, the company's principal business was described as general trading and online trading and marketing. This is how the criminal enterprise worked. The victims were permitted to purchase products online from the company's e-commerce website by paying a registration fee. Once the victims signed on, they were encouraged to purchase investment packages, which range from 770 Ghana cedis to 9,240 Ghana cedis. The criminals developed attractive flyers to promote fraudulent investment and categorized the investment into classes. So they had VIP 1, VIP 2, VIP 3, VIP 4 to VIP 5. And depending on the package, the price would enhance or increase. Victims were informed that they would make fantastic earnings by operating trading accounts as well as owning an online shop and trading in the company's goods on its online platform. Typical of most Ponzi schemes, victims were encouraged to embark on recruiting other victims through networking and referral systems. These investment packages could also be purchased via virtual currencies. The payments to the company in Ghana were either made by mobile money, cash, or via a crypto wallet. The criminals produced a how-to video demonstrating how to make payment using virtual currency. This video greatly assisted the Economic and Organized Crime Office in tracing the crypto wallet, which was used to receive the money and launder the proceeds of the criminal enterprise. Using very sophisticated tools such as chain analysis reactor, a software used to analyze cryptocurrency transactions on a blockchain, the EOCO identified the transfer of funds into the cryptocurrency wallet linked to the criminal enterprise. EOCO investigators established that the crypto wallets of the company were held on a crypto exchange platform called OKX, which was located offshore Seychelles. As it turned out, OKX's own internal investigation suggested that the criminal cluster, which EOCO was pursuing, had been found to be fraudulent. The suspicion of fraud stemmed from the fact that over 1,000 transactions from this cluster originated from a particular computer IP address and from a particular location, suggesting the transactions must have been done by an individual. EOCO obtained KYC, which is Know Your Customer information from OKX, who showed that the owner of the crypto wallet, a Chinese national who worked in Ghana under a residence permit and also worked for the company which was used to defraud several Ghanaians and British citizens. This Chinese individual was also named by Ghanaian victims as a person who directly received funds from them in respect of the fraudulent investment scheme. Having connected the dots, EOCO managed to freeze the tainted wallets and served the freezing order on OKX. The office also worked with OKX to notify the holders of the wallets. Realizing that the wallets had been frozen, the suspects sent emissaries to inquire why their wallets had been frozen. EOCO informed the suspects about the reasons for freezing the wallets and invited them to come to Ghana for further investigation. In the course of the investigation, the company which was used to defraud Ghanaians and British victims was closed down and its operations disappeared into thin air. Faced with a daunting task, EOCO applied to the Malaysian authorities for mutual legal assistance with a view to tracking down the directors of the criminal enterprise, which it had established through investigations was Malaysian. There was no response from the Malaysian authorities. EOCO became aware that the criminal scheme, which was operated and promoted by Chinese and Malaysian nationals, was a global operation that targeted victims in developing countries in Africa. Therefore, and faced with the lack of cooperation from the Asian authorities, EOCO turned to the National Crime Agency.
Still remaining with the accountability series by the Attorney General. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic A Ayine, has said he would be glad to hand over Frederick Kumi, widely known as Abu Trigger, in exchange for the former Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, following his arrest in Ghana.
Thank you very much. So your first question relates to repatriation and prosecution. Well, I don't remember precisely what the Honorable Minister for the Interior said with respect to whether we will repatriate those who have engaged in romance scam or will prosecute them here in Ghana. But granted that he said he will rather repatriate them to their countries of origin rather than prosecute them, all right, you always have a choice. And in the case of romance scam in particular, the victims may not be Ghanaians, all right. The crime would have taken place within the territory of Ghana. In other words, within the jurisdiction of Ghana, meaning that Ghana has, authority or the power to prosecute the persons involved in that crime, all right. But it is also the case that the country of the victims will also have the power to prosecute, all right. The choice that you have to make is whether you want to expend resources prosecuting them or you want to repatriate them. And if you are repatriating them, you have to give reasons to the country. Say, let's say that they are Nigerians. We don't just repatriate by taking them to the Nigerian border and letting them, get off the plane or the bus, and that is the end of the story. Okay? We hand them over with documentation to the Nigerian authorities, and they can then decide that they are going to take action, to prosecute them. Okay? So when it comes to romance scam, it is a complex story. So, for instance, in the case of those that we are faced with now, with Abu Trika being the latest one, all right, most of the victims are Americans, all right. In his case, the story is that the romance scam led to elderly Americans losing as much as $8 million United States of American dollars, and that is why the extradition request was made, all right. Now, we didn't investigate the crime itself, okay. We didn't know or had no basis to suspect that he was engaged in those criminal activities. Of course, sometimes if you take the lifestyle, you do a simple lifestyle audit, it can come up that this person must be getting illicit proceeds. That is why the person is living lavishly, all right? But that wasn't done. We didn't do the investigation. We didn't build a docket. So we cannot purport to just all of a sudden receive a docket from the United States of America requesting for extradition. Then we say, okay, you know what? We will retain the person here, take your evidence, and then go to court. In fact, the courts will even fight us if we adopt that kind of approach. Okay, so it's a complex governmental decision to take. I know some of those people are fellow citizens who are engaged in the romance scam, and there is a school of thought that says that we should be lenient with them, but all crime is crime, and we need to hold everyone accountable who has engaged in criminal, conduct, and this is the way to go.
Right, so that's the Attorney General, Dr. Ayine, over there, and we would move from the accountability series and come to the National House of Chiefs relating to Galamsey. This evening, the president of the National House of Chiefs, Odeneho Yaojebi II, has appealed to the government to urgently bring traditional authorities on board in the fight against illegal mining, warning the Galamsey menace is increasingly taking on national security dimensions.
The president of the National House of Chiefs cautioned that experiences from neighboring countries and parts of South America show how illegal mining can escalate into organized armed groups, a development he says Ghana must take steps to prevent. Osei Ahoghoye II noted that some Galamsey operators are already resisting law enforcement efforts, making the involvement of traditional rulers who are custodians of the land crucial in protecting water bodies, public health, and the environment.
We are calling on government to actively involve Nananum in the fight against Galamsey. In fact, Galamsey is now all over the place, all over the country. And if we don't take the necessary steps, we are going to lose out to them. In fact, my fear is even that they are ganging up into armed groups. And if care is not taken, the security forces are going to find it very difficult to flush them out from the forest and from the areas. And if this happens, then just like what is happening by the drug backgrounds in South America, we may have them also challenging security in this country.
Speaking at the general meeting of the National House of Chiefs in Kumasi, Osei Ahoghoye II also called for an immediate review of mining and timber royalties paid to traditional authorities.
Also, on your behalf, call on government to review the mining and timber royalties percentage given to the areas. In fact, some of us are even advocating that at least 1% of the gross revenue of every mining company should be retained in the area that the mining activities are going on. At least 1%. This is apart from.
All right, so that is the National House of Chiefs president over there, and let's do some more Galamsey related stories, because this evening it's featured prominently in Parliament this week. The government has completely revoked the legislative instrument LI2462, which granted power to the president to authorize mining in forest reserves in the country. This comes after the Environmental Protection Mining in Forest Reserves Revocation Instrument 2025 matured into law on Wednesday, December 10, 2025, following the its laying in Parliament by the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Ama Kofi Boa.
Recently, when you listen to what the Health Service or Ministry of Health are saying with regards to HIV, it is very rampant now. So, Mr. Speaker, as much as I support this ratification, I want to just call on every organization, whether government or non-government organization, that it should be mandatory requirement, that if you are going to be engaged, either employment or whatsoever, HIV/AIDS testing should be part of it.
Consider as a first step, but it is not entirely, it is not essentially, it is not clearly the promise of the president. You said they wanted to stop illegal mining, and illegal mining is not only happening in forests, it is happening in water bodies, it is happening in homes, it is happening in communities, within settlements. The president does not need, actually, to revoke the law allowing him to allow mining in forest reserves, because the president can decide to say that I'm not going to allow, right? It will not change anything. So I just think this is a cosmetic approach. The fight against illegal mining is getting out of grips of the government, and they want this to use it to assuage the people of Ghana that they are doing something. But in reality, a month from today, illegal mining will continue if they don't do something drastic.
It is one of the main commitments that you can ever show, legislation. Because all the things that we need to implement are laws that we need to implement. If you don't have the law, you can't implement. I consider that Galamsey have not been eradicated. Nobody is saying it has been eradicated. But the commitment that the president has shown, this government has shown, is more than what we saw in the previous government. We are here to reap the benefit of these efforts, because it's been endemic, it's been practiced, it's been there for a long time. You can't use 1 year to completely eradicate something that has been done for 7.
All right, thank you very much, and we're going for a quick breather. When I come back, Pulse of the Week with Kofi Asante Mensah takes a new twist and a new turn, where we would have a good discussion for today, Friday, December 19th, 2025. Going for a quick breather. Please stay with me. Hi there. What number is this? 3, right? All right. It's time for NSG News. Welcome. My name is Kofi Asante Mensah. And here at NSG News, you'll get serious documentary to watch, news, reviews, views, and what have you, because we have Pulse of the Week and also exclusive on the hot seat. On NSG News, we say news with integrity.
Get used to it. I have stepped into my new beginning. Yesterday is gone. Yesterday of darkness is gone. A whole new beginning. Get used to it. I've stepped into my new level. See me watching me flying on eagle's wing. A whole new beginning.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to have you back. My name is Kofi Asante Mensah. This is Pulse of the Week, and the program's name is Pulse of the Week. The station is NSG News, and we are streaming live on YouTube right now. Please catch us live, like our page, and those are channels on the various social media platforms. Please like our page and share it to the rest of the world to also comment and share their opinion with us over here. I'll be glad to read it. Thank you very much for joining us. We are going to the discussion segment here on Pulse of the Week, NSG News, here on NSG News TV. All right, NSG News GH, I must say. All right, so we are getting into that very discussion that we actually started last week, I should think so. I started that very discussion, or I was about to start that very discussion, but we couldn't have enough time to talk about it. But one thing I would love to start with is the pollster, Mr. Musa Dankwa, who has featured prominently this week because he did a poll and clearly stated that the Pandai seat will be won, or the NPP candidate, Matthew Nyendam, is actually ahead of the NDC candidates. And I have him also on Zoom tonight to share more light on it, even though the Supreme Court has suspended it for the 30th of December. And the hearing for that very court case is on the 13th of January, after we celebrate the Christmas and the New Year. On the 13th day of January, the Supreme Court will hear that very case. And it is then after that very court hearing, or after the adjudication, then the Electoral Commission will prepare for that rerun of the Pandai seats. But his polls are just there. The NDC is also saying they are not stopping campaigning. They are there on the ground and they are campaigning. The NDC, we understand from the NPP, the NDC tells us the NPP are also on the grounds, but the NPP tells us here in Accra that they are not on the grounds. They are not campaigning. They are respecting the courts. So we would find out independently and find out who is campaigning and who is not, because the NDC, they've been clear with us that they are campaigning. The NPP says they are not campaigning. We also saw within this week what featured another prominently is the presentation of the BCO Mediation Report to the presidency. And I hear BCO is under curfew as we speak today, Friday, 19th day of December, 2025. BCO is under curfew. What really happened? I have some videos to share with you if you stay with me. And there were some few unrest or uprising over there. People were just doing things unlawfully. And there is curfew in BCO. We would also settle down to start the discussion, if we can, today with Ayine Liquid, the host of Hot Sit here on NSG News. We want to look at the first year of John Dramani Mahama by way of his second term of office. His second term of office, or his second mandate as given to him by the Republic of Ghana, or Ghanaians. His first term. He was sworn in office on January 7th, but the election took place on December 7, Today is December 19th. So you watching me right now, are you happy you elected John Dramani Mahama after 1 year? Are you happy? Or if the opportunity is granted you today, 19th day, or even the 7th day of December 2025, if we have to roll the clock back and you have to vote today, would you still vote for John Dramani Mahama? These are some petty questions we'll be asking our special guests or discussants when they join us on Zoom. I think Musa Dankwa's connection is not helping, and we want to get Musa Dankwa connected with us very well. But the host of the hot sets, Ayine Liquid, has joined us now, media personality, all the way from the United Kingdom. Ayine, always a pleasure to have you. All right, so Ayine hasn't joined us yet, and I think we have some few disconnections with our Zoom, and we'll be getting it connected so we can have this pulse of the week discussion segment. I think one of them is back now. Who is back? Ayine is back, all right? Let's go to Ayine now. Mr. Ayine Liquid, always a pleasure to have you, sir. All right, maybe you would have to speak up a little bit, and I didn't hear a thing you said. I didn't hear anything. All right. Well, I still can't hear anything. Let's resolve this quickly and get Ayine to share his opinion with us and get us started. Today we'll start with Ayine, and we'll talk about the Diaspora Summit. What are the relevance of this summit? We love talking, Africa and Ghana. We are not ready to move into action. We love talking. And John Dramani Mahama was celebrated. They celebrated several media icons. That's a media? No, several African political leaders like Kwame Nkrumah and a couple of other great personalities by way of political leadership. And it looks like several years, over 80 years, we are still talking, and we love talking. Some people say talking is also good. You have to strategize. You have to dig into people's mind, ideas. And Nkrumah did the same. He organized people together, OAU, then eventually became AU, all right? So bringing people together, forces together as Africans, as black people, people from the diaspora, it's also good. So let's get to Ayine now and check if we can hear him. Ayine, always a pleasure to have you. I believe I'm not disturbing you, and I can hear you now. I believe so. Ayine, please talk to me. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kofi Asante Mensah. It's a pleasure and it's a privilege that you invite me over.
Let's talk that quickly. So I was talking about the importance of this Africa or the Diaspora Summit as held today. About 17 regions came together to hold this Diaspora Summit. What's the purpose of this Diaspora Summit? They have been sharing with us. John Mahama has been talking about it, and people are being celebrated. Today, we want to dig deep and see if this is very viable in this 21st century. 2025, we are still talking. Why? Is it good to be talking? Some say we are netto. No action, talk only. Ayine, it's good to have you. Please, do I have Ayine on the line? Thank you very much, Ayine. It's good to have you. Please, are we becoming netto?
Anyway, Kofi, thank you very much for bringing me onto your show one more time. And I hope I've been making sense with what I say, because the way I look at things is different. And I go to the basics of things. Diaspora Summit. Talking, yes, we've been talking. And we've been talking. There's nothing wrong to have you talking, i.e. when you're engaged or engrossed in an intellectual discussion with a purpose for action. Then, yes, talking is okay. But if you're talking for show, what then? You just said it, we've been talking since. Do we have a corresponding action to execute these things? We seem to be people that have excellent thoughts, excellent certificates, excellent ideas with no apparent action. That's the problem. That's my first comment.
That's the multi-billion-dollar question I keep asking myself, and you just asked it rightly. And Nkrumah did all of this to talk, but also did a blueprint that could take action. It looks like we don't have any blueprint. Don't you side with me?
I don't think that we don't have blueprints. I remember when we were younger and in school, there was this Vision 2000, something like that in Ghana. I think it's 2000 or so. What came about? That is a blueprint.
I think Vision 2020?
No, there was a Vision 2000 before 2020.
Yeah, I think there was something like that.
There was a Vision 2000. 2020 is just when we didn't achieve Vision 2000, we moved on to Vision whatever. Vision 2020. Okay, if it's Vision 2020, we passed 2020. What are the results and evidence of Vision 2020? Last time you invited me onto this show, I said to you that let's be blunt and let's be honest. The West has achieved something. Even the Asians and the Eastern part of the world are beginning to make their progress. Okay? Those things have not come to be by just sentiments. They came by deliberate and intentional decisions. One issue that we have in Ghana, before I even go Africa, is selfishness is the driver of the things we do. I'll stop there. I'll stop there for now. Because if you have $600 million to construct a road from Accra to Kumasi or to Tamale, for the goods that come from the north to come to the south so we can ship them, and you are consciously making effort to make sure that money doesn't go to the project, tell me it's not selfishness. Tell me. We don't think so much about the communal benefit and the corresponding side effects for not executing those communal projects. Look, I said it last time, there's something inherently wrong with our mentality. So, blueprint, talk, vision this, vision that. Visions don't deliver themselves, people do them. How much of those visions do we have built into our curriculum to start with? One of the easiest ways to destroy a country is to destroy their education. And since we have faltered with our education, this is why Ghana is struggling. Don't tell me SSC is better than when we used to have O levels and A levels. All individuals that applaud SSC and whatever it is that we have now, they don't love country. Because when what they call San 7 or elementary from 4, people could finish school elementary from 4 and go to offices and work. How many people can work in offices from GSS? What do they even know? Kofi, listen, ask me a different question. I don't want to be too much.
Clearly.
So diaspora, whatever. I don't know. Kofi, talk to me. I'm here.
Clearly, you are not enthused by this diaspora.
No, summit. I'm not. Any thinking Ghanaian and African is, look, it's about time that we go beyond all this facade of screen, talk, do this. Yes, the people at the summit may mean well, but what is the foundation on which they are building these things? It's early on into this discussion, but I'm already charged up because I love Ghana so much, and I look at us and I said, what is wrong with us?
Let's leave that. It's Friday, so I want us to.
Let's stay with it. Okay, look, I'm looking at something here. President Mahama pushes for reparations, calls for United Africa Front at Diaspora Summit. Reparations. We're still caught up in this, the past of things. What about today? What about tomorrow? Okay. Reparations. Yeah.
He actually said it at the 80th UN anniversary when he delivered a speech at the United Nations Assembly.
Yes, he did. I applaud him for that speech. That was the best that Ghana has ever given so far. Because for me, I believe the United Nations General Assembly is the time for you to table your grievances, how the union is not benefiting your nation. But I know the last time our president Akufo-Addo was there, I don't know what he was talking about. I mean, that will not inure to anything beneficial in our country. Go tell them about your project. How are they going to help you? That union is to function in a way that all the member states benefit. So when you go to the General Assembly debate, you speak like the Mahama spoke. That is the kind of speaking you have to speak. Call to question the things that are not working for us. Challenge decisions that are against us. And that is the best. The one that Akufo-Addo did was the worst, the last one before now, was the worst we have ever had. When talking about Africa, one market and all those things, you know that the West is in contention with us, whether we like it or not. We are in a world where everybody wants to survive. I don't blame the West for what they do. I blame us for not doing enough to push them back. You cannot blame a man for wanting to survive. So if the West is wanting to survive off our resources, it's our job to rise up, to meet them somewhere and push back, or make a demand, or present how they assess these things. So yes, diaspora this, diaspora that. Look, I was reading something, and where was I reading it? And then it says about the challenge of employees in Ghana wanting to steal from companies. There are a lot of Ghanaians abroad who wants to start business in Ghana, but they will not, because our employee materials, they are always skimming ways to steal. I'm taking you somewhere else, but hey, listen, our issue is too much. Kofi, I'm not sure whether it's a good thing you brought me. I'm not sure whether it's a good thing you brought me tonight, because I'm not so pleased about us. We are better than what we are showing. That's all I'm saying.
You don't believe there would be an end in sight pretty soon? This behavior, characteristics you paint
Kofi,
about Ghanaians and Africans?
The end in sight has been before. How old are you now? What are you talking? What are you talking? Kofi, I challenge you back. Look, there were roads that I grew up with, that when I was growing up, they were feeder roads. We drive on them, and they are good. Now they don't exist. There are roads that when it's coming to election, they'll come and plow them and just do something so we vote for them. Those ones, they are gone now. Some parts of Ghana, I can mention those names now. So tell me the improvement. Listen, when we talk about Ghana, let's stop talking about only Accra. Accra is not the only place. Accra is not the only Ghana we know. When people show those colorful buildings at Tetekwasi and say Ghana is developing, something is wrong with us. How far do you have to drive from Accra to feel the fact that the country is not developed enough? Huh? Yeah. So diaspora, whatever, I don't know. I wasn't there. If it comes out to produce results, so be it. We talk too much, and I agree, we talk. We have professors going around talking, giving all kinds of seminars, and like poetry.
So why didn't you come for the Diaspora Summit?
I was busy building something.
Let me leave you on that. Let's move on to our second subject for discussion this evening.
Kofi, I am not saying it is not a good move. If that summit produces networking, we don't even trust ourselves to network, Kofi.
That's true.
We are skeptical when it comes to business. And I don't blame us, because we have reasons to be skeptical in going to partnership with ourselves. So if that Diaspora Summit produces partnership, there's new development, there's graders moving around, building structures, strategic structures, institutions, platforms. Then I look forward to the next one, and I will be there. I will be there with what I have to offer. The challenge also we have is that when an African person, when a Ghanaian have something to offer, because of his dark skin, our own people will not pay attention to you, except you bring a white man along with you. It's a sacrilege. We are still slaved. And we sit down there pretending. If I don't bring a white man with me to go to any of the Ghanaian institutions there to want to break a deal, 99% of the time, I'm not going to get it. So what is Diaspora Summit? What is wrong with us? Huh? Why must I bring a lighter skinned person to get a deal? You go look around and see all the deals that have been done in Ghana. Who are the people behind it? Hey. Yeah. You heard me. I'm done.
I get you, sir. Let's move on.
I remember that I went to the so-called premium passport office in whatever. Some Eastern Asian people are the ones that hosted the place. The way they treat us, the way even they position our flag at that place is so insulting. I remember I did a program on it. Whoever gave that contract, how they gave that contract, they call it premium service. You go there and see what the experience was. I was so cross.
I've been there before.
Even my 6-year-old son, I was so cross with the whole program when we went there.
I've been there, and I've been quite angry leaving that place that very day. You pay money for premium services, but you are treated even below ordinary service.
Find out who are the people who own that services. I don't have a problem with us working with internationals, businesses. I respect us, value the service that we require. But to give service out to people that disrespect us because they think we don't deserve is annoying to me as a person, because I won't do that.
Now, I want to come to you and take your opinion or help me do a review of John Dramani Mahama. It's a conversation. I would love us to keep it on the burning table for maybe some 4 weeks from now, 3 or 4 weeks. We can keep discussing it. I want us to do a good review of John Dramani Mahama's administration 1 year on. We are saying the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if we want to even begin with the economy, we'll talk about the Ghana cedi, how it was, the rate at which it was as compared to the dollar, and where it is right now. We can talk about the fight of Galamsey. We can talk about education, talk about health, and so many of them. We can segment all this discussion. But I first want to take your prior discussion about this very topic. What do you make of John Mahama 1 year? What comes to your mind readily when they say John Mahama second term, first 1 year? What would be your submission in just some few seconds?
Accountability.
He's been very accountable.
One word, accountability. I said so because I said accountability because since they took office, at least they bring things out to the limelight as to what they're doing, what is going on. I'm not saying everything is up to scratch, but seems they are ready to respond to any concerns or queries that are coming through. Okay, from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs down to the Communications Ministry. There's been a lot of communications coming out with an intention to let the people know what is going on. Something that I think, I may be wrong, was not expressly available in the previous government. They were rather, I felt like they were suppressing information when they were challenged, when they think things are wrong. They don't want to come out with what it is, but they kind of suppressing information, as I think. I may be wrong. Especially, for instance, last week when I was telling you that the Office of the Special Prosecutor was challenged to the numbers that they brought as to how much they recovered. They doubled down on it and corrected it. That's accountability. Whether the numbers were deliberately inflated or not, it's not a subject. But the matter is when it was challenged, they accordingly revised their numbers and came back. That's what we want. So if you ask me, Mahama being about a year now, accountability is what I would say. I think that there's some level of accountable schedule to let the people know what's going on and why what is. That's how I put it. I may be wrong.
I think you're right, because I have some few lineups over here, and for the good, I think accountability is one of them. Achievements and positive moves, policy initiatives and early gains, physical and economic management. He's been quite good with that. Like I said,
one more thing I'll say is continuity of projects. When they came, they've not stopped most of the projects. One of the challenges of the previous government is that all the NDC, in quote, NDC projects were stopped. Hospitals that were near completion were stopped. Right. I remember Manasseh Azure did an extensive coverage of all the hospital, regional hospital, district hospital, polyclinics that were left by the Nana Akufo-Addo government because they were initiatives or were started by the then Mahama government. Okay? But when they came, at least we know the Pokwasi project is still going on. Other projects are still going on, which were under the flagship of
Accra on the Dodowa Dental Road is also ongoing.
Yes, so accountability, continuity, and fostering delivery of project irrespective of who started it.
And I must add that I think on Wednesday or Tuesday, I was in the Volta region using the Dodowa, the Ada route. I could see Saglame housing that he left and wasn't continued by the Akufo-Addo administration being refurbished. I think I saw some few works being done over there, and it tells me he really wants to come back and do very good. I would also mention anti-corruption and governance reform. I think with issues which has to do with oral and things like that are also, people are expecting more accountability to nip corruption in the bud and do more. Grab people, put them behind bars. If they go through the judiciary or the legal system and they fall foul of it, they go behind bars, that's fine. So people are expecting a lot of accountability in that regard as well. How about job opportunities? Has he been able to open up the doors for young people by way of jobs? What will be our assessment on John Mahama for the first 1 year?
Job count, I don't have statistics, therefore I will not comment on it because I don't want that very, there should be statistic-based analysis. I don't have the numbers, so I can say at least the event of LWAC suggests that a lot of youths are still looking for a job, hence the turnout was so great. But maybe if when Musa comes on the show, he might have numbers to tell us what it looks like. But I have not looked at those numbers. Maybe I have
but some numbers I can share with you is the 1 million, the coders program. They have done the apprenticeship program. They have also started the Ejumewura program. They have started. They have even started the Nkokon Ketenkete and all those things.
Those are initiatives. What numbers have they delivered as far as employability is concerned? Let's not be caught up in the press conferences to say these initiatives have been engineered or has started.
Delivered.
Okay, so what's the numbers? How many youths have been employed by Akukon Kitinkiti or yeah, how many? Like I said, I don't have the numbers. But for us to say, because let's be careful so that politicians don't play game with us. They are good at press conferences and make things look good. Okay? So if you hold a press conference to say we have initiated or actually we have started this project, we want to see the numbers since initiation and delivery. What do we have? So it's not enough for you to tell me that there was a press conference to say that we have now done this. Okay, not a problem. At least it's measurable. How many youths have been employed under the Akuko Nkitinkitin project? Kofi?
Right. I would find out for you. I'll find out for you. But it's good we have opened the discussion.
I'm only saying that let's not just start another superficial treatment of the people and country. Because it's easy to be caught up in press conferences with numbers and statistics and initiatives, which amount to nothing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yes, I know there was a press conference to say they have started this, but we need numbers to substantiate the fact that the start is actually delivering something.
If you are to mark John Mahama, somebody who has gone through this for 4 years and he's come back, and you know, I know you listen and do a lot of Manasseh Azuri stories. The same Manasseh Azuri did in confirm etuko Burkina, if you remember that story, in confirm etu efigana eko Burkina, and John Mahama was brought into that spectrum, and also some allegations about a car gift to John Mahama with respect to corruption and bribe taking and all of that. When you do the 4 years of John Mahama and second coming of John Mahama, 1 year so far, and how Manasseh and people like the anti-corruption journalists and anti-corruption opinion leaders in this country, if I'm asking you to mark John Mahama, as we have opened the review discussion for John Dramani Mahama first 1 year in his second term, if I have to ask you to mark him and be that head teacher who would mark John Mahama today, what percentage of numbers would you give to John Mahama with respect with all the things we have said?
I love Ghana too much to put a number on his performance so far. Okay? Ghana across board is having serious deficits. So I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon of these superficial feelings and sentiments and emotions of being this or that. I'm not saying he's not doing anything, but I'm not going to measure it. I don't think it's enough for me to measure him. That's what I'm saying.
1 out of 10.
Neither am I saying they're not doing anything. Where Ghana is and where Ghana should be going and where Ghana should be, I refuse to measure him.
But you like the resetting agenda for the past 1 year?
Yeah, you see, the problem we have is that once we begin to see the seed germinate, then we start dancing and we destroy the seed. Let it grow. Let it grow. Let's keep the fire on and let it grow. Let's not be complacent. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not going to measure him. Pockets of events that seems to suggest, there's some light popping up, but I'll refuse to measure him. I want to see more.
But if you would have to be constructive with respect to criticism, what are some of the bad things you think John Mahama has done? You criticize him constructively, and if he has your ears this evening, he will listen to you and he will watch you. What would you tell John Dramani Mahama with respect to constructive criticism as part of the 1 year that he's been in office?
I don't like to dwell on the bad things. I love to, because when we amplify the good enough, bad becomes absent. If everybody is going to keep their cues and run it as it should be, the government system is running as a clock machine, it should be fine. Personally, I believe that Mahama has this genuine desire to make a difference. That's my belief. But the instruments, the fibers, the arms available to do this is my concern. We see the foreign minister doing what he had to do. I call him the almighty Jatta. He's doing what he has to do.
Some George.
George. Some George. I don't know his name, but I prefer to call him. He said his name is Jatta, so I'll call it the Honorable Jatta. Yeah. So the Lion Man, right? All this would come together to reflect on what my challenge to him will be if it comes to your notice that some of these guys are under changing country, people, your instructions and order. Would you be bold enough to remove them or replace them? That will be the first question I'll give him, because the challenge we have had over the years is the refusal of the president to act when it becomes apparent that the appointees are failing.
Who is failing so far?
So if there's, I would caution him to select. Yeah, this is your last term. Of course, I know there are some other people from different countries calling for a third term, subject for another day, or maybe you have it to ask. I'll say what I want to say. But if that is not a subject to concern, or it's not going to happen, these 4 years is your legacy term. That will involve you firing people and replacing people, if you really want to achieve it. Because let's be honest, the challenges we have had over the years is the appointees becomes very questionable in their behaviors. And that rubs off the president. I believe that all the presidents we have ever had, they have good intention to make a change in the country, to make a big difference. But where they fail is the inability or the refusal to act when it becomes evident that their appointees are failing, corrupt, mismanaging, and committing all kinds of malfeasances. That's what I'll call to question, and that's what I will caution him for. If I have the privilege of sitting with him, I say, sir, I trust your heart is clean to make a difference in country, but you're not everywhere. So when it comes to your attention that someone is acting funny, effectively remove them and replace them. That sends a serious signal, and the rest will sit up.
I think
I'm not saying there is.
Yes, I was saying I think we should have a show that would look at all John Mahama's appointees for the past 1 year, what they have done.
Yeah.
We take time to appreciate and scrutinize them. Those who are not doing well, we inform them, we tell them they have to up their game. Me, I don't like the transport minister. I don't like him. Cry. And I'll tell you more when we do that show. A show that will talk about all appointees, especially ministers. The transport minister is a not, and I'll explain further when we get to build up on that very, very show. I want to take your attention to
bring that show on. I'll be more than happy to participate. Yes, we have to be country where we carry out programs purposely to measure, applaud where it's due, call to question where it is deficient, or the people are being insufficient in their schedules and mandate. That will help us a lot, because this partisan feeling and sentiment has not been helpful at all, where we will defend people who are failing because they belong to a particular party or an umbrella. So yes, I look forward to that program. Kofi, I'll hold you to it.
And I'll do that. I want to take your few remarks on what happened relating to the Boko crisis. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the former president, started it. John Dramani Mahama came to continue it. And Ofori-Atta Extradition, he was left by the president, John Dramani Mahama, to finish the mediation. He has finished, presented his report to His Excellency the President, and John Mahama has issued a 2-page statement, and I'm sure you are aware of what John Mahama has indicated, including a 1 billion revitalization of Boko development and a couple of others. But the big news is that we are hearing some unrest in the Boko enclave of our country, and we are not happy with it at all. We understand the Interior Minister or the IGP have put curfew on Boko, which is not a good development. Quite a few remarks on Boko before we go.
Ghana and the chieftaincy matters. And it becomes more difficult to resolve when we politicize it. Okay? So good that the government, working with the traditionals, are taking steps to resolve this, because when these things happen, they affect development in the area, because people are not comfortable to do anything there. People even migrate. They actually move out of that community or that region. So it has a it has a serious impact and effect, and a long-standing one. And this issue has been long-standing. So if the president, the government machinery, and the royal or the traditional machinery are working together to foster a resolution that will be long-lasting, we have to applaud them for that. I read that, yes, there was a meeting with the Royal Highness Otumfuo, and that the results, it's a good one, or it's looking good. But if there is a sudden issues, that means the police should act. We can question that. The police is to police. If they have enough reason to think there's the need for curfew, so be it, so that will curtail or will keep escalations within check. That's fine. That should mean they are working, their ears are on the grounds. The challenge is when we have bad actors doing all they can to break the attempts to make. That's the challenge, because if they agree to go to the meeting with the Royal Highness and they are making progress, and suddenly there is some development that requires the police to declare curfew in the community, I can only think about bad actors instigating others to function contrary to what is being achieved. And that's one thing we have to also be careful of as a country people. Again, that will be calling into question selfishness again. Something that we need to really, really, really look at. Selfishness. Is it better for us if there's an agreement to say, let's say they said, okay, if it's I think it's got to do with the Kusasis and the Mamprusis. If it comes to the point that there's going to be oscillation of who is or who is not, that's a good deal. So if one sits on the throne for 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, gone, then it's the next one. The people don't normally react except somebody is encouraging them to react. The followers always follow somebody. And if the person that they are following is instigating them, they can only but deliver what he wants them to deliver. But I pray and hope that the involvement of the Nana Otumfuo would bring this matter to a halt, because it has affected that area development-wise.
Right. So let me say a very big thank you to you. And that's our package for today. Unless you have something few to add. If not, I would like to say a very big thank you for your time this evening, sir.
Kofi, what can I say? I can only say thank you for bringing me on the show today. I mean, I think I was charged already before coming on the show anyway, so I started hot, but I think I ended on a good note and a very quiet note. Because, you see, sometimes my passion and no anger, I'm not angry. No, I don't think I'm angry. It's about the fact that when I look at us being in school, the passion, the energy, the desire to do, and we come out of school and still our countries like this. Of course, some pockets of good things happening, and people will deliberately say, oh, Ghana is developing. How far do you have to go from Accra to see that Ghana is not developed? The challenge, we're jumping around AI, this. The challenge is the internet. Look at data. I said it last time. Jatta needs to call these media, communication people to question, because
telcos,
the telcos, the telecom companies, they are cheating Ghanaians too much. The Ghanaian is paying more for data. Someone argues to say that because we don't own the systems by which the data come to us. Okay, can't we come out with some sort of deals, agreements that helps us? Because when you look at NSD News, their statistics, viewership is within Accra, as though Accra is Ghana. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Right. So when I hear letting people jumping around and say because they, okay, let me not say that one, because Kofi, let's not start another conversation. You
know,
put me
right?
to a halt. Let me end it here. I don't want to continue. I would love to continue my age.
I just penciled it down. Data, conversation, data. We'll talk about data.
We'll have to talk about it because Ghanaians are suffering.
Yeah.
Ghanaians are suffering under this data because they're not helping us. We are in the internet age, but majority of the internet activities is in Accra. Being online, viewing, watching videos, programs, and all these things. Accra is not Ghana. Ghana is bigger than Accra. You see, so Kofi, if you allow me, I'll continue. Please,
I know,
put a stop to me now before we go somewhere.
We've got to go. Thank you very much,
go.
sir.
Even myself, it's Friday, I got some things later. I won't tell you what it is, I don't ask me because I'm not going to tell you. It's my special personal program. I need to run it.
That's true.
Kofi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much.
For being on the show. It's a pleasure and a privilege that you seek my audience to come and speak from country and people point. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
God bless you and your team.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, sir. His name is AM Liquid, host of Issues here on
I Am Liquid
News. I thank you, media personality. Thank you very much, AM Liquid over there. And that's how we gradually move the wheels to a bar stop, to a stop, okay? And this has been your show, Pulse of the Week, on the 19th day of December 2025. My name is Kofi Asante Mensah. I've been supported ably by Justice Kluche. Thank you very much. And a big thank you to Francis Entry. We call him Kofi Berry. Kofi Berry. Thank you very much. And they say the town crier does not shout for nothing. Thank you for accepting our shout, because it is not for nothing. We came with something. So thank you for listening to us. My name is Kofi Asante Mensah. This has been Pulse of the Week. God give us life. We'll come back again to do this all over again. It's Kofi Asante Mensah saying goodbye to you. Ta-tai.